Today, let's cover Jupiter in 12 houses. You can check this with respect to Lagna. From your Lagna, the position of Jupiter in the Bhava Chakra, sometimes in the Rashi Chakra as well, and also from the Kalapurusha Chakra as well, this will work. So, for this, what we are using is the stories of Dronacharya and Vamana. Vamana is the avatara for Jupiter. Dronacharya, we have covered a little bit in the last class, how he is related to Jupiter, etc. Because Dronacharya is the son of Bharadwaja. Bharadwaja Muni is the son of Brihaspati, Jupiter again. Okay, so if we understand their lives and so on, we'll be able to understand the position of Jupiter, the results coming from it in a large scale. So Jupiter in Lagna, if you look at Vamana, when Vamana came, in a moment he expanded. Okay, so Jupiter tries to give expansion, radiance. These are the two things. Because wherever Jupiter is there, he tries to give a lot of radiance. That means the person will look very bright. Okay, and he will look very radiant while he is walking or talking, or you have that elegance and the class in the person with the Jupiter in Lagna. It will be visible that yes, this person has some kind of effect of Jupiter on him. Otherwise, he will look very, very resembling to godly thing. Okay, if the degrees of Lagna is very close to Jupiter, he may look like a godly figure, or he may look like a person who can, usually Guru is the person who can take you to the God. That is why Guru is very respected in our society, right? So next is expansion. Because of the expansion, the person is constantly gaining weight, could be gaining fat, most likely around his tummy, belly, etc. Diabetes, etc. Sugar is the wrong word. Diabetes, etc. could be possible as the age grows on. And with the Jupiter actually, rules the breath, the number of breaths we take. So, Jupiter exalts in the 4th house. So Jupiter actually controls the heart as well. So heart primarily helps in pumping, etc. So usually for heart diseases, also Jupiter is the Karaka. So we do not neglect Jupiter for heart. Okay, and one is heart, the other one is the breath. Somebody having asthma, asthma thing, breathlessness, all these are Jupiter diseases. So somebody has a Lagna Jupiter can also have issues of, either of these diseases, provided the Lagna is weak, the 6th house is strong, Navamsha is poor, all that thing has to be, looked at. Okay. And he cannot work regularly. This is because, Jupiter debilitates in the 10th house. Okay. So Jupiter is an advisor. He is not a person who is focused on regular work. He is looking at work wherein, which is not very regular. He wants to work as an advisor to a company, or he wants to work maybe 1-2 hours in a day, direct people, allocate them tasks and then tell them, or advise them, not even allocate, advise them how a task has to be done, and then, leave the place, rather than constantly, doing something. Physical work, 10th house and 6th house are the places where physical work is required. The earthly signs require physical work. There, Jupiter is very poor, whereas Mars is very good. Okay, so what does Jupiter like? Jupiter likes, comforts, or Jupiter is the Karaka for comfort, because the more the prosperous the person is, and Jupiter is the Karaka for prosperity, or Jupiter is the Karaka for tapas. Tapas is, if you have to do tapas, you don't have to go anywhere. You just sit here, pray God, worship God, believe that God is going to help, and leave everything over God. That is what Jupiter is focused on. Mars is exactly opposite of it. That is why you have 10th house, Mars exalted, the natural 10th house, Mars exalts, there the person has to believe just in karma. And there is no God there in the 10th house. Okay. The 6th house and the 10th house, these are the two places where God does not exist. These are practical houses, right? So 3rd house, 6th house, 10th house, and 11th house. These are the neutral houses, correct? Neutrals are ruling these houses. So there God does not exist. So what they say is, do your work. You don't have to believe in God as long as you're doing your work. I mean, this is not wrong as well. This is as well right in one kind of a philosophy. However, Jupiter exactly believes the opposite of that stuff. He believes that if there is enough worship, okay, if there is enough power within yourself, you can transform anything or move mountains even, okay, with the help of God. This is what Jupiter believes in. Okay, so you can never say this is a good thing, nor you can say this is a bad thing. Same is the case with any planet. Okay, so if the person is failing in life, where does he fail? If he thinks that he leaves everything to God, does not try to work, instead believes only in mantras or worshipping, God, not doing the physical right effort for what has to be done, that is a very big Jupiter in Lagna. Okay, so it is important for the person to have other planets as well in places where physical work is required, or even the neutral planets have to be well placed. Otherwise, Jupiter will push you into a place where you will believe that only the mantras will work. I don't have to do anything, which is in this today's practical scenario, which becomes a little difficult for the person to succeed, because if you ask any of the management gurus, what do they say? 95% is hard work and 5% is luck. Correct? That is what all the general Mercury people will say. All right. So the other thing with Jupiter and Lagna is, no matter what happens, this person is constantly smiling. Okay, he has, he has a hope in life, because Jupiter is exalted in the 4th house. 4th house is full of hope. This person believes that nothing can go wrong. You pray God, okay, something is going wrong, that's fine. Okay, there is some reason behind something going wrong. Let me try praying, and it will fall back into place, and I will do well. Okay, this is a good thing as well, and this is also a bad thing as well, because sometimes what happens is, even after the ship has drowned, right, everything has gone wrong, this person may still be very having a hope, which sometimes makes a huge false hope thing, correct? Because if the ship is drowned and everything is lost, you cannot retrieve it back. So sometimes, if a very, very strong Jupiter being placed in Lagna can, tow you into a situations where the person is having false hope despite everything has gone wrong for him. So unless there is a counterbalance of either the Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, all these planets will counterbalance Jupiter in making the person believe that it's just not the God, but all the other planets that can push you to work. And after work, that is where God can be. I mean, do your work, and the result will come. Okay. So Jupiter and Lagna, there will be responsibilities, okay, because Jupiter, Saturn, these are big planets. These will put you under pressure. These will put you, they'll keep you grounded. Okay, you cannot jump in the air and say, because elephant is what Jupiter represents. Elephants cannot jump too high. Elephants cannot jump at all, actually, or they cannot have all their 4 feet in air at once. All right. So these people, they believe that we have to stay grounded. It is important for us to, stay grounded, etc. Although Jupiter can also give you a lot of ego as well, because if they know how to use the Jupiter well, they will come to a position where everything becomes very easy for them. They try to pray and things happen for them, so they'll start believing that sometimes that even I'm bigger than God. Even that can bring in an ego, but that's very rare. However, Jupiter actually puts a lot of pressure on you with the dharma thing, and he keeps checking whether I'm doing this right or not. Is it as per the dharma or not? There is a constant dharma sankata. Okay, this right word is dharma sankata. So this guy keeps checking, I'm doing this, is it right or not? Is it right as per the dharma or not? What I'm doing is, will this be a sin? Will this be okay? He'll keep constantly checking on that. And that is why lots of time there is either delay in taking a decision, or there is, something goes wrong. Let's suppose you have an office, you are a manager with the Jupiter in Lagna. The problem with the person with Jupiter in Lagna is he cannot scold people. He cannot shout over people, because sometimes as a manager, there is a need for you to say that, look, I'm over you. I'm trying to oversee what you're trying to do at the office. I mean, most likely in the Indian context, I'm talking about. I'm not very sure how the other places work. But if you're in a production industry or a manufacturing industry, you're trying to manage unskilled people, etc., then you have to let them know that, look, there is some guy who's sitting above you and trying to, oversee what you're doing. And this person will be very bad at it. He cannot say that, look, I'm sitting over you and you guys have to do the work properly, nor shout at them, nor try to, show some power that, look, I'm a powerful person, etc. However, there will be good radiance. But this person is very poor at managing the very unskilled people. Okay, because why? Jupiter was the guru for Devatas. The exact opposite thing is the Shukracharya, who's the guru of the Rakshasas. Okay, so Rakshasas guru will be a different kind of a person, and guru of Devatas will be a different kind of a person. So a person who has guru in the Lagna can only talk to people who have good amount of knowledge on the subject. If you're trying to throw a layman at him, then the layman will be a lot more confused, because the person teaches at a level where it is difficult for generic people to understand. Okay, or if he becomes the boss, then it becomes too difficult for him to go to that level and tell him. So what he would say is, look, you try to manage this labor section. Okay, if there is a sub manager under him who reports to him, he would say, look, you manage these people, let them not come to me. You may still come to me. I will direct you what has to be done. I cannot talk to the labor part. Okay, these are some things which I have observed. And Jupiter also casts his aspect on the fifth house. So Jupiter tries to protect his subordinates, tries to encourage them, but always warns them that, look, you guys have to follow the SOP, because Jupiter is exalted in the fourth house. Anybody who follows the rules, Jupiter is very happy about. Okay, so there is an SOP. This is how something has to be done, and if he follows all the rules at the office, or for that matter, for any task that the person is doing, Jupiter is most happy. So he keeps advising that please follow the rules. If they're not following the rules, then he would say, please follow the rules. That is when I can appreciate you. Otherwise, I cannot. Okay. And then the ninth aspect usually casts the fortune or the blessings on the person wherever the house falls. I mean, in case of Jupiter in Lagna, it aspects the ninth house. So the boss or the father, they are really blessed. If you employ a person who has got, I mean, if you're an employer, if you have a company, it is good to employ someone who's got Jupiter in the Lagna, because if he works under you, this person is going to cast blessings over the boss. Okay, so the company is going to grow bigger and bigger while the person is employed there. Okay, and then the seventh house aspect, or the seventh aspect of Jupiter, tries to protect the relationship, okay, of whatever house it is. In case of Jupiter in Lagna, Jupiter tries to protect the relationships that come from the seventh house, like the spouse, the partners, etc. These are the Jupiter in Lagna thing. So what we should look at is Jupiter in Lagna, building up weight, have to be careful about it. And when regular office thing is a very difficult task for them. These are two difficulties with Jupiter in the Lagna. But Jupiter in Lagna is Brihaspati, it is Vachaspati, it is going to cast blessings, it is going to give you responsibilities. There is a lot of good people usually talk about Jupiter when it's placed in the Lagna, which is very right, but there are its own disadvantage with Jupiter in Lagna as well. For that matter, all the planets, wherever they are placed, you will have both the positives and the negatives. Don't be never think that some planet is very good and at the other place it is very bad. That is very rudimentary way of thinking. You can have all your planets at all the places. You will still get good things. You will always get bad things. Both the things you will have. Okay, Jupiter in the second house. Second house usually deals with the family. So look at the tree, the family tree, the Angirasa, the Brihaspati, Bharadwaja, Drona. Drona is married to Kripi and Ashwathama. So, usually what people think is Jupiter in the second house. Wow, it's a Dhanakarka. The person who, gives wealth is placed in the second house. This is a very good placement. I will not deny this. However, I will not accept this as well, because no single combination can give you dhana yoga. For that matter, no single planet can give you wealth. Wealth comes from almost all the planets, of which Sun is the primordial giver of wealth. Okay, you need to check Sun, because Sun gets into the 10th house. Okay, and Moon as well. Moon is the sustainer of wealth. Sun gets directional strength in the 10th house, right? And Moon gets the exaltation in the second house. When we talk about Dhani Yogas, I will talk in more detail. But what is important is you need these two planets for wealth to really come in. A lot of people confuse prosperity to wealth. Prosperity or happiness is what Jupiter can provide. Prosperity is contentment. Somebody who is very happy with what he has is what Jupiter can give you. You may still have just 10 rupees in your pocket and you can still be happy. Okay, happiness is what is Jupiter. Okay, so second house Jupiter, as we all know, what does Jupiter give? The first thing is it expands the second house. Okay, so second house carries the food. Second house carries the family. So the person, and Jupiter being a Jivakaraka, most of the times, Jupiter actually expands the number of people who are there in your family, depending on your food. Okay, so there I can give you two examples here. I usually give this. The example is, there is a politician who works for a particular district, could be an MLA or could be someone, could be a, works for that whole ward, etc. What happens is this person is constantly focused on all his people who he has to feed. He may still be a rich guy, but he has people to feed. Okay, so that is what the Jupiter in second house can show. It can also show a person who has his mother, widowed mother, his wife, his children, his widowed sister, divorced sister, extra responsibilities. Extra responsibilities can come. If you have second house Jupiter, wherein there are so many people that are to be addressed with the wealth that you have, or with the wealth that you have earned. This can be also a possibility. What the usual term people use is, with your money, you will feed a lot of people. This lot of people have taken it wrongly, thinking that, oh, okay, so it means that if I have to feed a lot of people, I will get a lot of money. No, it is not like that. You may still have less amount of money, but there are more amount of people to feed. This is what the shloka, or this is what the Parashara actually meant. Okay. So the person will have a lot of family responsibility. The person, the fifth house shadow of fifth house aspect of Jupiter goes into the sixth house. So protecting mother siblings, or protecting the enemies, or protecting the routine, protecting habits. So Jupiter second house, the person has any habits by any chance. Okay, let's suppose he drinks every day alcohol. He's trying to lose wealth due to drinking. I'm not saying anybody who has Jupiter in the second house will drink alcohol. I'm not saying that. Alcohol drinking has to be checked from the Navamsha and also from the D1. Most likely Saturn Rahu influences the 7th house or the 1st house with certain combinations here and there. Then you may have the habit of drinking, depending on the dasha as well, the kind of dasha you're running, because Not all the dashas people are drinking. Sometimes somebody might be drinking in one dasha and he may leave it in the next dasha, etc. So everything has to be counted for. And so just in case you have any habits and you have Jupiter in the second house, okay, it becomes very, I mean, you try to justify that this habit is fine and you'll not try to leave it. On the other hand, if the person is very, let's suppose somebody, this guy who, I mean, on the flip side, on the extreme side of the other side, if the person is a pure vegetarian, teetotaler, etc., and if the doctor tried some medicine, he will try to see what are all those ingredients. And if he sees that there is something, that goes against his religion or his beliefs, etc., that the tablet contains, then he would say, look, I cannot have this because this medicine has this kind of, of a thing inside it. Okay, so this can go as extreme as having such things. Okay, and then is where the fortune goes in is on the job. What I have seen with people in the second house Jupiter is, for them it is easy to find a job. Okay, sometimes you have second house Jupiter. Most times finding a job is very easy. When you lose a job, you will still get a job very easily. Okay, I'm not saying they're going to get a big job, etc. It is not like that. I'm only talking about finding a job. Okay, and then as protecting relationships with in-laws and family, because second house Jupiter will cast the seventh aspect on the eighth house. Eighth house deals with the in-laws. So the person is trying to protect the relationships with the in-laws and their family. All right, you have the third house Jupiter here. Third house Jupiter, when Vamana came, Vamana's brother, the eldest brother is Indra, and the youngest of all Dwadasa Adityas, all the 12 brothers, the 12th one is the Vishnu or the Vamana, who came down as an avatara now in Jupiter. So Jupiter in the third house, what you can see is, Jupiter, the third house, Jupiter is the Bhagya Karaka, right? A lot of people say that just Jupiter, if you have good Jupiter in your horoscope, everything can work well for you because he is the fortune bringer or the harbinger of the fortune, is what a lot of people talk about Jupiter. So that's the Bhagya. Now, third house is a place where the Abhagya works. As I just said, when I was starting the lecture in the Jupiter first house, Abhagya, or the Bhagya. Jupiter believes completely on the Bhagya. Jupiter believes in luck, right? So the third house is a place where no luck has to be believed. It's belonging to the Mercury. It is a place of Mercury. Mercury is something that believes just in his work. Third house and sixth house. Third house is your hands or your subconscious brain, both. So you have a thought in your brain, you have hands to do some work, because we are the only animal who have hands. I mean, the other animals will have all the limbs. They are all like legs, but we are the only people who have hands. So Mercury believes that you have subconscious brain, you have hands, and in the sixth house, you practice it daily. In the 10th house, with that practice, you can go in search of a job. The 10th house is that. 11th house is where you get your salary and enjoy your life. Where is God here? Nowhere. Just enjoy your life with everything. I mean, one way he's not wrong. I mean, Mercury is not wrong. Try to find a job, try to find a skill, practice and master over it in the 6th house. That's where the Mercury is exalting. And 10th house is where the karma has to be done. Find the job and then work and then get the salary. The 11th house, and Ishtapurti is the 11th house, right? So coming back to the third house, you have the Abhagya. That means this is the place where, this is the house where everybody, okay, there is a part of everyone has this house, right? You have a Lagna, so you have a third house. So everybody has at least 1% of it working. Talking about practicality, right? We always keep talking, okay, there will be pujas, there will be God, there will be everything. But there is also something called as the practical, approach where the Mercury is ruling. So that is Abhagya, where Jupiter completely dislikes. That is why third house Jupiter is Marana Karaka, because Jupiter does not like the house where there is complete practicality and Jupiter has only hope, whereas third house is completely negative house. he keeps thinking, I mean, Mercury is a person, think it like this. You're doing a work. Let us suppose there are three people in the team. There's one guy always in this team, wherever we work, he keeps coming back and saying, look, we have to list out what are all those things that can go wrong in this project. Let us list them out and try to address them beforehand and be ready with that contingency plan, right? Instead of hoping that everything will go well, let us understand what are all those things that can go wrong beforehand, write them down, and make a critical path wherein there is a set target for this, there is a timeline for this. We have to achieve these things. These are all the third house timeline, targets. These are all the third house things where Jupiter believes that look, everything will happen because there is God all over us. Okay, doesn't work like that. So Jupiter actually struggles in the third house. Or Jupiter came down not to help himself. Vamana did not come down to help himself. He tried to help Indra to regain his kingdom back. So the person is trying to help his siblings. Okay, it has not, Maranakarka Sthana has got nothing to do with the planets. The results for a person. Okay, do not think, okay, there is a planet in Maranakarka, so the person represents that is going to die. Not necessarily. Okay, so what I mean to say is somebody has third house Jupiter, not necessarily that the 99% of the times the sibling is alive. It is not that the sibling is dead. Or the seventh house Mars, Maranakarksthana. Oh no, the wife is going to die. No, it is not like that. Not every time. 99% of the times, no. 1% happens because it's just a fluke. It's somebody died because of something else, and you still have that Mars in the seventh house or the Jupiter in the third house. They are two different things. Don't try to mix them up. They don't work like that. And Jupiter, and the third house belongs to initiatives for work. Jupiter does not believe in taking initiatives. Okay, be clear on this. Jupiter believes in, when the Devatas have a problem, look at it from the Indra's angle. What did Indra do? Indra will go to Vishnu and try to request him, sir, I have this problem. So what does Vishnu do? We have talked about this in Shravana Nakshatra. Vishnu will say, okay, what has gone wrong? Tell me all that stuff. Pruchamana. So he's going to ask questions. What are all those things that you have done? Pruchamana and then Pantha. Pruchamana Avasthat, Parastat, and Pantha Avasthat. So in the Pantha, he's going to tell you what are all those things that you have to do right so as to get the desired result, right? In the third house, Vishnu is not going to push you and tell you, please go and do this for sure. Okay, I'm only giving you an advice. I'm only giving you a guideline. This is how something has to be done. So Indra comes back and does it for himself. Okay, he doesn't go and, Vishnu does not come and do everything for him. Most times he does it for himself. Right? So that is another thing Jupiter does not like, taking an initiative. Okay. So Jupiter in Lagna, there is a problem of taking initiative. The person does not like to take initiative and start something. Okay. He would only advise someone. He needs someone to advise him, tell him, look, please do this. So he starts that. Okay. And then atheistic attitude is what you have in the third house, which is against the Jupiter's thing. Intercourse, okay, this is the Maithuna Sthana, so which Jupiter does not like about, because he's not the Karka for it. And online things, okay, this is okay for Jupiter. So Jupiter can promote online thing. Jupiter can promote communication. So the person is constantly trying to communicate, constantly trying to be in touch in WhatsApp, etc. All that stuff you can say. And then, Indra called Vamana, the Vishnu, as Ray, because, he's the young kid. So in India, people usually, respect the elder ones. So we call them Aap, Ning in Tamil, Miru in Telugu. So Indra did not receive, Vishnu did not receive the respect from Indra. He actually called Vamana because, hey, young boy, because Vamana is the boy. And Indra is already old by then, because he's at least 12 years older to him. All right, because there are 12 of the Adityas, and Indra is the eldest of all, right? If you calculate 12, in those days, it was 12 months gestation period. Because when Rama also came down, Rama was there in the womb of the mother for 12 months. So slowly the time of the man came down and it became 9 months, is what people say. I don't know. So this cannot be proved, so I cannot say that. All right. So communication. So Indra was still pardoned by Vishnu. Okay, so there can be a few issues with the brothers, siblings, etc. And this person with the third house, Jupiter, does not, if the brother it still insults him, right? He will not care much, and he will say, "It's my brother. It's okay. He has every right to call me the way he wants. It still shows love on me." Okay, so even there is an insult because he's insulting because he thinks that I'm not doing the right thing. Okay, so he's trying to forgive the brothers. Okay, so this is one way it is a good thing to have the third house Jupiter. Okay, so the other thing is, Jupiter is forced to believe atheism. Jupiter is forced to believe abhagya, or Jupiter, and also let us suppose you have departments in your office. The departmental heads are trying to, not help you much. They're trying to take advantage of you. Okay, because you are not a person who can take the initiative. So somebody else will take initiative in the office and say, look, this man cannot take an initiative. So I'm taking the initiative. I'm the person who's driving the whole thing. And, take away all the credit, right? So these are all those things that can happen with the Jupiter in the third house. So responsibility of siblings and partners, like I said. So the person does all the work, but the initiative or showing it to the management is a little missing in this person. So somebody else may take a credit, or he tries to report to the departmental bosses despite they are equals for him. Okay, and however, you still have to see the D10, D9, etc. to confirm these things are right or or wrong. Sometimes you may still not get these results because your D10 is absolutely different. Okay, so you have to see the D10 for sure. But these can be triggers. If the D10 shows a little thing, if the D10 shows a small thing, if the D1 has Jupiter in the third house, so the result is going to be bigger. Okay. Then he protects the wife or the business partners like his own kids, because it's the fifth drishti. The fifth aspect of Jupiter falls on the seventh house. So he protects his wife like his kid. He protects his business partners or departmental heads who are equals like him, like his own children. So how do we protect our children? Even if they commit some mistakes, we are not going to highlight and stuff like that. Okay. But he will still feel for the people if they're not, following the dharma, because Jupiter is the dharma. So if these people are not following dharma, then he will keep feeling for them. Why are they doing the wrong things? Why they not, why will they not do the right things, etc. Because third house Jupiter, he has more feeling about of the thing that people are not right. They're not doing it the right way. It has to be done this way, etc., etc., etc. Okay, fortune for elders or friends. So 11th house, the ninth aspect falls on the 11th house. It makes the elders or the friends fortunate. And then you have the seventh aspect that falls on the ninth house. So it protects the relationships with the father and the gurus. So the person, one more thing what I have seen is the third house Jupiter, the person is actually staying very away from the father after he has got a job, got married, etc. Majority of the life the person stays away from the father, but he still tries to protect the relationship with the father, calling him every day, and you keep telling him, dad, have you had your medicine, did you eat, etc., etc. So he keeps track of what his father is doing, and his well-being is properly tracked. But he still will have a feeling inside his brain or subconscious thing, or worry or a guilt, like a thing where I'm not able to stand alongside my father, help him take his medicines, etc. He will have that guilt feeling for life. Okay. And or in the office, if there is some issue with the bosses, etc., he will try to protect the relationship with the boss. No matter what happens, my relationship with the boss should not be spoiled. So let me try to protect the relationship. Okay. So if the boss felt a little bad, these people will go back and tell them, clarify them, etc. Sir, this is done for so and so reason. It is not to insult you, or trying to patch up things with the boss. This is what we are trying to do. Then Jupiter in the fourth house. You see, Aditi is the mother of Vamana. Aditi is the mother of Indra and all the 12 Adityas. So Aditi, when Indra lost the kingdom to Mahabali, Raja Mahabali, what happened is Aditi went to Kashyapa, the father of Indra, and said, look, our kid lost the kingdom, and I want Indra to regain back the kingdom from the Daityas, the Rakshasas. So Kashyapa said, look, I cannot do much about it. There is one guy called the Vishnu, which you know already. Please go and worship him. So Aditi tried to worship Vishnu, and Vishnu was very fond of Aditi, because Kashyapa and Aditi are the first parents for the whole world. So he thought, Ma Aditi, I want to be born as a child for you in all the yugas, all the janmas. So I want to be your kid. So I'll come into your womb. So Aditi agreed for it. And that is why, it is Vishnu's request to come into the womb of the mother. Not every time this happens. It is the Vishnu who requested the mother that I will be, I'll be coming into your womb. I want to be in your womb. Right? Otherwise, what happens is usually the people pray for the god to come into them. In most of the avatars, this happens, but it is exactly the reverse. Aditi prayed only for Indra to regain back his kingdom. Oh, Vishnu, please try to help me. Vishnu replied and said, look, I want to come into your womb and be your kid. So she accepted it, with happiness, and Vamana was born with 4 limbs and with 4 limbs as like the Vishnu. And then within a few seconds, he turned into a 200 man. And then later on, he has grown like a 7-year to 8-year-old kid, where the Upanayana can be done, or the Yajñopavita can be worn. So at that stage is what the Vamana walks up to the King Mahabali, where he gets the 3 steps of land, and the Mahabali is pushed back into the underworld. This is the story which we have talked about in the Shravana Nakshatra also. Please read that story. Also, the story is available at many places. Okay, so these stories are very important for people to understand why things are happening this way. It is, to our good Vedic astrology is something which is related to all these things, so that we have a fair knowledge of all these things. Then it is very easy for us to understand why is this happening. Okay, because history always repeats. So you have planets somewhere, it happened in that yuga, the same thing is actually repeating, because we believe that Kala is a chakra. Kala is not a linear expression, because when the earth formed, it came from a fireball, right? And what a lot of scientists are saying, all this fire will unite back and all the planets are going to go into the sun. The sun will swallow everyone once again. All these planets came from the sun, they are going to go back into the sun. So the time is not linear. This time is cyclic. That is why they are saying these days that there will be one more ice age very soon. Okay, because the temperature is going very high and the nature is going to adjust once again, and the ice age is going to come back. This is another prophecy by the scientists very recently. So what we are trying to understand is what happened in that yuga and how those things, panned out, so that we will understand what can happen to our people, or to us, or to the person of whose horoscope is being examined. Okay, so 4th house deals with the morals, the ethics, the rules, heart, principles, extended family, public work, comforts, lethargy, false hope, foolishness, because 4th house looks at comforts, but 4th house does not understand from where the comforts are coming from. Okay, so unless the person is blessed, right? Unless the person is blessed, it is, because 4th house is a place where comforts are there, and the person is willing to be in a comfort zone. So, you must have heard a lot of people saying, look, you have to come out of your shell. You have to come out of your comfort zone for you to actually, earn more money, put yourself into difficulties, try to solve some problems for the people. And that is when you will be successful and all that stuff. You must have definitely heard all these things. If you try to solve the problems of people, right? You are getting more money. Where is Kumbha? Kumbha is the Aquarius. Aquarius, from Aquarius to Moon, I mean the Cancer, it is the sixth house. So more labha is there when you're trying to address the problems of common public, which resides in the fourth house. So instead, what is Jupiter doing is Jupiter is trying to frame rules. Okay, Jupiter is a very good SOP, standard operating procedure. He can write or devise a very good standard operating procedure thing. And he is very good at writing. These are all these steps that you have to follow. These are all the morals that the people have to follow. This isn't like a Niti Shastra, wherein, there are rules that the society has to follow. There are principles that the people have to follow. There are, SOPs that the employees have to follow. All these things are devised by Jupiter. He's very good at making them. But he will say, look, these are not for me. These are those rules established for common public so that they don't commit anything wrong in the life. Right? That is why we have constitution. That is why we have police and all that. So what is foolish here is Jupiter believes that everybody is his family, depending on what the Rashi is here and all that you have to see. Depending on if it's a very soft Rashi like Cancer, etc., then this feeling will be very high. Everybody is his, is his extended family. And he tries to help anybody who is in need and expects that, look, I have had 100 rupees, I have helped 20 rupees out of this. And somebody who has 1,000 rupees should help me, right? Because I have 100, I gave in donation 20 rupees. So I'm left only with 80. So somebody who has 1,000 rupees should pay me 100 rupees, right? This can sometimes look a little foolish for very practical people who have very big Mercury. They'll say, look, if you're not comfortable donating, why are you even donating? Please don't donate. This is not the right way of thinking. Although what you're saying is right, but this is not the right way of thinking. You may be having 100, you are still giving them 20 rupees. I may be having 1,000 rupees, but my expenses are 1,000 rupees and I save nothing at the end of my month. Okay, so you cannot come and expect that I should be paying you. Okay, this can be one simple foolish thing that you can have. Okay, just give me 1 second. Sorry. So the fourth house, the person is highly moral, highly ethical, following a lot of rules. He has a very large heart, very principled. Okay. Sometimes he look very foolish because of this kind of expectation. Okay. It also depends on where the house is, what nakshatra Jupiter is in, and so many things. But a lot of times what happens is Jupiter in the fourth house, these people will try to help a lot of people, but nobody can help them because a lot of people think that, look, he is a very comfortable person. How can I help him? He's already a raised man. Okay, so how can I help him? This is what the people will think. And he's focused on public work. So if he thinks that, look, I have enough of money to live and, be happy, then it is important to give some money to the public work, do some dana, do some donation, etc., provide comforts to other people. And lethargy is another thing, because the more you have Jupiter in the fourth house, it becomes very, very difficult for you to move out of the house, do something. Because usually work means, I mean, unless, I mean, today's world, there is a lot of, work from home concept. Otherwise, the work is always away from the home. So that is why exactly work is 10 houses away, I mean, 7 houses away from the home. Fourth house is home, 10th house is work, and exactly it is very far from the home, right? You have to travel 7 houses. That is when you will leave, I mean, you will reach the work. So it is exactly the opposite house, meaning what happens at home does not happen at work. What happens at work doesn't happen at home. These two are entirely two different, lives of a person. And only in the evening we reach home, when there is after the sunset. In the morning, the moment sun is there, we always go to the 10th house, because we respect the sun and we want to earn money. That is why I said, earning used to be there only during the daytime. Now, as the time is progressing, a lot of people are, doing night jobs, etc., and stuff like that. Okay, we'll come to those things when we are looking at horoscopes in more detail. But usually, fourth house Jupiter, it becomes a little difficult for the person to go out and do a job. So if it is a job that happens at home, then it is a lot easier for him to do this job, do this thing. And also, there is a lot of false hope in the person that, if I pray, okay, praying helps me like anything. Sometimes this can turn out into a false hope thing, because he believes that, okay, I do these mantras, then I can even move the mountains. Sometimes these can be counterproductive, depending on the morals of the person. So if the morals are very high, if the person really believes and does what he is saying, I mean, manas, vak, kaya is what we keep saying three things, right? With the manas, with the vak, and the sharira. All three things should be doing the same thing. If that thing happens, then yes, it is possible, depending on the other combinations. But for sure, this person has a huge hope thing from the god, okay, which is a good thing. I will not say it's a bad thing. From a Mercurian angle, if the person has a very big Mercury thing, then he will say, look, this person looks a lot foolish. Why he is hoping so much that mantras can help the person? Sometimes 90% of the times mantras won't work, is what I mean, because there are sayings as well in the native languages that mantras can't help. You have to work, right? Okay. So fourth house, there is a responsibility of the mother, or there is responsibility of the extended family. Okay. Or there is, they want to help the extended family, or they want to help their people. That is their intention always. Okay, help does not mean always monetary help. There can be advice. Okay, because a lot of times Jupiter, what he can do is only advice. So his job is to give advice and provide them hope. Provide them the mental stability, because the fourth house, and assuring them nothing will happen. Don't worry. The emotional touch that he provides. Okay. That is what they are very good at. The Jupiter, the Venus, these two planets are very good at providing the emotional stability for a person. Okay. When we come to Venus, we can talk about it in more detail. Then it protects the inheritance and protects the native from the losses, protects the relations at the workplace. Okay. These are those four things that come from the Jupiter aspects and placement. Now moving to Jupiter in the fifth house, you have children, subordinates. Just look at how Drona was. Drona has a child, Ashwathama. If you ask Drona, who is your best, best student? Because Ashwathama, all the Kauravas, all the 99 Kauravas, Ashwathama, and the Pandavas, total 105 people were studying under Drona. So usually for anybody, if somebody asks who is your best student, anybody will say it is my kid. But Drona never said that. Drona always said Arjuna is the best out of all the students that I have. Okay. So fifth house Jupiter makes the person unbiased. Okay, do not think it is a very good thing to have. The stronger the Jupiter is, that is, let us suppose you have Pisces Lagna, you have fifth house exalted Jupiter, okay, Leo Lagna, Swakshetra Jupiter in the Sagittarius. This is even more dangerous. Swakshetra Jupiter in the Sagittarius. The kids keep complaining that, look, my dad or the mom, whoever the horoscope is, he will keep saying that, look, he never appreciates me. Okay, he always draws rules and keeps saying, look, this is where you're wrong at, this is where you have to improve. These are all those things that you're doing wrong. Trying to compare me to somebody else in the class, all that stuff. Okay, so there is always a constant advice to the kids, and the kids are really feeling little frustrated. The more bigger the Jupiter is, the more heavier the Jupiter is, like the Swakshetra and the Ucha thing, the person, the person keeps complaining, the kid keeps complaining that my dad or my mom are like, they're continuously torturing me. All right. So the other good part is there is a constant help being provided. There is a constant advice being provided every day by the parent. I mean, because fifth house is the parent's chart we're talking about. So he as a parent is providing a constant help to his child. Okay. And taking the responsibility of the kids. Okay, even if my kid, does not perform, it's okay. They will have all that stuff in the mind, at the back of their mind, but they will not openly claim in front of the kid, because Ashwathama Hataha Kunjaraha is what happened for this man to be killed, Drona to be killed. So you all know that story. If you do not know, please read Ramayana. You will know how Drona was killed. Drona had all his love and everything for Ashwathama. So he wanted his kid to do well. And Krishna made this thing wherein he wanted Drona to believe that the Ashwathama is no more. All right. So please read that story. You'll understand much better. So the protection is protecting the father, the boss, or the guru, or if it is a female horoscope, protecting the husband. Okay. So all these things, she'll protect the husband like her own kid. Okay, or protecting the father like her own kid. Okay, and it gives a constant fortune on self, because the ninth house aspect falls back on the native, and usually after kid's birth, after the child birth, there is a better fortune for the person. Okay, with the fifth house Jupiter, because it's in the fifth house. All right, protecting relationships with the friends. So whenever friends call them, they'll go back and talk to them, etc., etc. All right. Now, Jupiter in the sixth house. This is a little tricky place for Jupiter. Again, Jupiter does not like this place, because being ruled by Mercury is one thing. Second is, it's a place where physical work has to be done. Jupiter and Venus. Venus is a guru again. That's why Venus goes into debilitation there. Jupiter is also a guru. He does not like the house. The reason is, both these gurus are not meant for work. They are meant for advice. Advisors do not work. Advisors advise and others work. Okay, the employees work. The mentors are there only to mentor them. Okay, so if you look at it from that angle, it is difficult for people to win over enemies. So this man, Yudhishthira, Duryodhana came up and said, Drona, Guru, thank you so much for standing up for us. You please capture Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is the weakest of everyone who does not know any Dhanurvidya. He does not know any archery. So you are the master of archery. So I believe it will be like a cakewalk for you. You will go up and capture Yudhishthira, and that's it. The war will be over. And Drona could not capture Yudhishthira despite waging a war with him for 3 times. This has, made this man Duryodhana very angry. You are such a big guru, and you could not do such a simple small thing, right? So this man Dronacharya faced a lot of insult in the hands of Duryodhana. So difficulties in winning over enemies due to dharma. So there is again dharma sankata. Wherever Jupiter falls there, right, there is always a dharma sankata in the brain. Do I have to do this? If I try to do this, these people will be affected because I am trying to win over someone, so somebody else will be affected. And this is not the dharma. This is not very right. So he tries to weigh things with respect to the right and the wrong thing. Okay, so the person may face insults from younger bosses than him. Okay, if he grows older, while he becomes older and older, younger bosses will come for him, and they are going to, teach him a lesson, or try to prove Jupiter that look, you are wrong, etc. Okay. Now, usually you have planets like Jupiter, Venus, Moon, Mercury. The Saumya Grahas in the sixth house would mean, usual generic thing is, if you have diseases, usually the recovery is very fast. If you have enemies, the enemies are growing very fast. Okay. In contrary, if you have malefics like Saturn, Mars, etc., Rahu, Ketu, etc., or Sun, all these are malefics, natural malefics. Generic thing is, if you have a disease, recovery takes longer. If you have enemies, they're not going to grow, right? So, but Jupiter being an expanding type of a character, wherever he goes, he expands the whole stuff. So there is a disease that tries to expand, let us suppose, like a cancer that comes up, and there is Jupiter in the sixth house for whatever reason. So the cancer is spreading very fast. I'm not saying Jupiter in the sixth house will get cancer. Please don't take that wrongly. What I'm saying is Jupiter, for whatever reason, if there is cancer or some disease that has come, and Jupiter is in the sixth house, it helps in spreading the disease even faster. It can also happen. Okay. So, I mean, do not think, okay, I've got sixth house Jupiter, it is a very good thing for disease because it's faster recovery. No, not every time it happens. You have to look at charts like D9. You have to look at charts like D30. These will tell you how to locate disease, etc. And then from there, you can understand what has to be done. Okay. And physical fights, it's very difficult for people having sixth house Jupiter to physically go and fight. You need Mars, Rahu, etc. to fight physically. He learns from the competition. Very good for, to understand what the competition is, because wherever Jupiter is placed, right, there the person is learning something. He becomes the guru of the person. So you have sixth house Jupiter, the competition becomes your guru. Seventh house Jupiter, your wife becomes the guru. Okay. Eighth house Jupiter, your in-laws are teaching you. Ninth house Jupiter, your father is your teacher. Your mentor is your teacher. Ideally, your teacher is your teacher. 10th house Jupiter, your father's family or your job is your teacher, etc. 11th house Jupiter, your brother is your teacher. Okay. And so on. These are simple things that they work very well as well. Okay. So this person, if the competition does something, then he'll understand it and try to launch another product to compete the competition. That is very good with him. He can also face betrayals from the people. Okay. If the seventh house is very afflicted, seventh lord is very afflicted, Navamsha also shows a lot of, bad relations, multiple affairs, etc. Jupiter, the sixth house, can promote this multiple relations with with different people. Okay. I'm not saying Jupiter, the sixth house, for sure, multiple relationships will be there. You have to check seventh house, seventh lord in the D1 and also in the Navamsha. And if all that things confirm to a place, then sixth house Jupiter may promote more relations, more bad relations. Okay. All right. So responsibility of the sixth, insults from the young bosses is what you will get from here. Protecting the company that the person is working for, blessings on family or money. Okay. Second house, because sixth house Jupiter, you have the ninth house, ninth aspect on the second house. The family is usually blessed, or the money from the father is blessed, or money that the family owns is blessed, etc. All that. And 12th house is the good relationships with a grandmother or the grandfather, etc. Okay. And you have Jupiter in the seventh house. So the father or the wife is very strict, teaching the native. Okay, or the wife is actually working, she is getting more salary than the native. Okay, so the native constantly feels that, look, my wife, she's undereducated than me, she's under talented than me, but she's actually drawing more salary than me for whatever reasons, because salary, talent are two different things. You may have so much of talent, but you can still be jobless, and somebody who's not having any talent could still be in a job for different reasons, right? Everybody knows these things. So wife could be earning much better, okay, which is a good thing. So somebody has a lady has seventh house Jupiter. There's a possibility that the wife, the husband is earning much more, or sometimes even the reverse happens. I know 2-3 cases where the wife has seventh house Jupiter, and she's actually a breadwinner rather than the husband. And husband is most times he's jobless, although he's trying to find a job very seriously. Even that can happen sometimes, depending on, always look at Navansha and other stuff for this. You cannot solely, rely on these stuff. This is not like the nakshatra stuff where, for sure the result will come. But these are very important to understand, because if you have to take up remedies, these positions are very important. You have to keep these positions in mind, and your prediction, your remedy should be in tune to these planets. That is why these are very important. You cannot skip these things. Okay, and the business partnership with guru. So the person who he is in partners with, if he is like a guru kind of a person who is knowledgeable, then it is very good. Okay, and there is a rise in position, status, etc. after the marriage. The person will rise in money after the marriage. Okay, most likely these work, especially in male horoscopes. For female horoscopes, I have not seen it. I mean, the rise in status, etc. I have not seen them to be working very well, unless the second house, ninth house are very poor, and the seventh house has the Jupiter. Then that's a case of living in the poverty in the childhood, etc. And then after the marriage, the couple went elsewhere, or the boy has got a very good job, etc. And then they are living lavish life, etc. That also needs confirmations from the Navamsha. I mean, do not, I always keep emphasizing only on one thing. Please do not use one planet and think, oh, this is a wrong placement or this is a right placement. It cannot happen. Okay. It can never happen. Responsibility of partner, protecting elders, protecting friends, fortune of the enterprise or brothers or partners. So how enterprise meaning, if you are in a business, so there is a good fortune of the enterprise. The enterprise is going to slowly rise, okay, or the business is going to slowly rise, or the partners are going to slowly rise, and the brothers of the person are going to slowly rise, and protects the relationships with everyone, okay, because it aspects the seventh house and the first house. So eighth house Jupiter, the person has prosperity in life after the death of someone. This can be one possibility. Second is Jupiter is also Vachaspati. So the person is constantly talking about someone who, I mean, people who are dead. They don't live right now, and he keeps talking about them. Look, when we were together, my brother used to be like this, my mom used to be like this, assuming both are not alive right now. Okay, so these are those things that can happen. And blessings of inheritance, the person will get some inheritance. Okay, the person is very good at researching something. The person is responsible for in-laws, their family, their food. Okay, eighth house Jupiter can also, throw you into intoxication, depending on Saturn and Rahu's placement, and also Venus's placement. So these are those things that you have to take care. So intoxication cannot be helped if you have Jupiter in the eighth house. So be careful if you fall into that, better not to fall into that habit if you have eighth house Jupiter, because coming out is very difficult. And insurance, you have a big insurance on your name, okay, or you may be holding a big health insurance on your name, or this also works as a remedy as well, taking some insurance if your Jupiter if you think Jupiter is throwing some difficulties at you. I do not actually vouch remedies just like that. I mean, it is important because a lot of times what people think is, okay, this is the problem, current dasha is this, so let me do a remedy for the current dasha lord. Not every time it is like that. 50-70% of the time it is not like that. Maybe 30% of the time, yes, you just do the remedy for the dasha lord, it may still work. 30%, not always, because you need a full reading for it. Responsibility of the inheritance, because if there is an inheritance that comes up from the family, this person will take responsibility to actually split it between all the shareholders properly. Protection of the expenses, father's mother, or losses. Usually, eighth house Jupiter does not like to spend too much. Okay, or they are hugely spending. Both can be possible because Jupiter is a planet which expands. Okay, so it can give you extremities with the 12th house. And the mother is usually fortunate with the eighth house Jupiter. Mother can have a long life, or mother is a little blessed with whatever. Could be life, because it's the eighth house indicates the life thing. Long life comes from the eighth house. So mother could be having a long life. And the second thing is, the second house thing is the protection of relationships in the family. No matter what happens, these people will stay united. Eighth house Jupiter, people will stay united, and they will fight the problems altogether. Okay, Jupiter in the ninth house, the father or the boss. Ninth house again is rules, protocols, dharma, luck, gurus, bosses, mentors, raising the bar high, higher education, traveling jobs, fortune, future. For this, all of these things, Jupiter is karaka or responsible. So this man gets the responsibilities of father or the boss or the dharma or the rules. Constantly he will be in dharma sankata for all these things. Wherever Jupiter is there, just remember one thing: the person falls into dharma sankata, and he keeps thinking, am I doing the right thing or not? Am I doing the right thing or not? Okay, this is the biggest challenge for Jupiter himself. Okay, because he debilitates in the 10th house. Karma has to be done no matter what happens. You cannot refrain from doing karma, and you say, I will just do a tapas, and I will not. I'm married, but I will not give food to my family. I will not provide food to my children. I'll go into the Varanasi and do some tapas there. This is not acceptable by the Dharma Shastras. If you're married, it is your duty to provide food to your wife and your children, raise them properly, show them the path of the dharmic living. And then in the Vanaprastha, once they are settled, that is when you can go to whichever place you want. And if you have seen that, okay, my kids can fare well now from here, that is when it is acceptable. Okay. So, but Jupiter constantly thinks that I have to, leave as soon as possible. Okay. So I will not say it's a bad thing. I will not say it's a bad thing, but you cannot bulldoze things, right? And second thing is, if you're not doing the karma, it is even more delayed, right? Because 10th house you do not like as Jupiter, and you do not want to do karma. Instead, just praying God, that is not going to help. So Jupiter in the ninth house. So there can be dharma sankatas depending on how the Jupiter is and how the other planets are placed. I will not say it is a super placement. I will say it is a good placement. Wherever Jupiter is, or for that matter, any planet, any placement, none of the placements are extremely good, none are bad. Both are equally poised. Okay. So responsibilities of boss, father, dharma, rules. So this person is constantly taking that responsibility. I am the follower of dharma. So I have to see that everybody follows dharma. Is that right? Sometimes it can backfire. Okay. Because you think this is dharma and somebody else thinks this is not the dharma. Something else is his dharma. So there can be conflict there. But usually Jupiter, if he is alone, it is actually more easy because Jupiter proposes something, it's fine. If Jupiter in the ninth house is influenced by Mars, Saturn, and all that, then he actually pushes other people as well to follow those rules. Okay. However, you still have to use nakshatras, you still have to use navamshas and all that. Okay. Sometimes I hold back myself because what people can think is they just want to straight away see their horoscope, have Jupiter, Saturn, Mars. No, I'm still following dharma, but I don't push anyone. Yes, I know. Sometimes they don't work, as I say, because this is a very, very widespread thing. You're looking at the D1. Okay. So there are hundreds of things that can be possible. So sometimes I don't, although I know a lot of things that can be explained here, I'm not telling them on purpose because a lot of people think that they are working, they will work just like that if they apply. Not all of them will work. Okay, so protecting self, over follower of safety. So ninth house, the person tries to protect himself, tries to follow the dharma, and he thinks himself as his kid, and he needs to follow dharma and over pushes himself to follow dharma. Okay, and the blessings of subordinates, blessings on subordinates, I'm sorry, on subordinates, follower or children. So somebody has a very good ninth house Jupiter, he becomes a very good teacher. If he is a teacher, that's the best profession he can have, because the students that he is going to teach, they're all going to be blessed. Okay, so if you're running a school, get people who have ninth house Jupiter, the fortune, the bhagya of the students that he's going to teach is going to rise in life, right? And protecting relationships with brothers, partners, and neighbors. Okay, Jupiter in the 10th house. This also, a lot of people think it's a bad placement. I will not say it's a bad one. It's a good one. It's also a bad one. Any place for that matter. Jupiter 12th house, first house, everywhere. Usually Jupiter does good. So there are some challenges that come with Jupiter. So let's talk about that. So the person is trying to follow dharma at the workplace. So he cannot win over enemies. Okay. So what does enemies would mean is if there are two people who are competing for something, this person is going to give up very easily who has the 10th house Jupiter. He would say, okay, you need it the most, please take it. Maybe you have a sick wife, you have a father who is staying away. You have more money to that you have to spend for the family, etc. So he may be not able to, he's looking at dharma there. Even that can be a possibility depending on what Rashi it is, etc. Because you have a very strong Jupiter, like the exalted one in the 10th house. Yes, this can happen. Okay, so that's why I keep saying do not be obsessed with exaltations. I would say it is good to have Jupiter in the Saturnine houses if you have it in the 10th house. It's a very good thing. Actually, Jupiter debility is a very good thing. I would say you have Jupiter debilitated, the money is going to come automatically because ninth lord, natural ninth lord goes into the 10th house. So it's a natural dharma karmadhipati yoga. Okay. So if you know what I said, Jupiter debilitation is very good. So large corporate offices, because expansion is what Jupiter does. 10th house shows how your office is. 10th house usually does not show your job. Most times it shows the kind of office you're working in. Okay, is it big, is it small, is it a bank, is it a place where transactions happen like a bank, or is it a place where construction happens like a construction site, or is it a manufacturing site? You can fairly have an idea of how your office is based on what your 10th house is. Okay, and then however, you need to look at your D10 for it. Okay, just not merely based on D1 can be, that can mislead you most times. And the person is constantly committed to the office, to the company. Okay, and on the personal side, the person is actually losing because he's constantly at work. Okay, there's a lot of physical work for the person, and he cannot fight physically. He learns from the competition. Again, the sixth house thing, I'm using it once again. And he can be facing betrayal. Like, when Drona went to work, the work is only Kurukshetra for him. Otherwise, his work is only to teach. So this person can become a mentor. This person can become a team lead. This person, although he becomes a team lead, lot of work the person does. Okay, because although this man Dronacharya was the teacher. He was sitting. If you have seen the Sabha, the Kauravas court, this man Drona was sitting low, and Duryodhana was sitting a little high because he's the prince. So he was teaching the prince. So although he's talented, he's the team lead, he actually sits a little low, and he does a lot of work, and he reports it to his juniors. These are all those things that can be possible based on what we are seeing from the Jupiter in the 10th house. But it is still a very good placement, because the person is like an advisor to all his team, and most of his team likes him. He is extremely talented, and all the knowledge that he has praises for all that. However, most of the work Jupiter will have to do being in the 10th house, because people and the team think you are the most knowledgeable, so it is better you do it. Okay. And only the very obvious things the other team members are doing. Okay. Responsibility for the work of the whole team, as I said, protecting the family. Okay. And he also, if let's suppose he works for an FMCG company, right? Let's suppose he works for an FMCG company, which makes, I don't know, maybe toothbrushes. So he will talk to the other competition as well, bless them, teach them what kind of problems he is facing, and so on. And he tries to explain them, this is how I have solved the problem, so be careful. So if you have these things, try to correct these. And he's not bothered that, look, I am running an FMCG company, and the competition, if they gets to know that these are all those things that they have to take care, then they will also learn from it and try to rectify them. He's not worried about that. Okay. So this can sometimes, bring in problems like conflict of interest, etc., that can go against the native. So somebody has to be careful here. Good relationships with mother and extended family, because the 7th aspect falls on the 4th house. All right. Jupiter in the 11th house. This is a good blessing, because your salary keeps constantly rising. However, this is also the 6th from the 6th house. So roga. So never think 11th house is a very good house. Sometimes it is a very bad house. So if, as I said, in the Jupiter 6th house, there is something that is trying to expand as a disease, like a cancer or something, wherein expansion is important for it, a tumor or a cancer, or there are so many things, right? As diseases, they expand these days, like the cataract that spreads across the eye, right? These are all that happens to spreading. So anything that spreads, okay, infection also spreads. The septic that happens, right? It's also karaka for Jupiter, because the spreading happens due to Jupiter. So the septic spreads very fast. Okay, so a strong Jupiter 11th house, the Lagna is very poor. In the Navamsha, the Lagna is also poor. The Navamsha Lagna Lord back in D1, also very poor. Then the spread happens very, very fast. Okay, so usually what happens is rise in the salary, Jupiter 11th house, and wherever Jupiter is, if you have 11th house Jupiter, most important thing is, because it belongs to the Rahu, it also belongs to Saturn. Both are constantly looking at adharma. Okay, Jupiter is absolutely obstructed by Rahu, who preaches adharma, or he stands up for Rakshasas. Okay, usually he stands up for adharma. Although there are some Rakshasas like the Mahabali, Prahlada, and others who are focused mostly on the Vishnu, and they are very blessed souls. That's a different aspect. So that's why even Rahu can also bring in spirituality, depending on aspects, conjunction, and stuff like that. Not every time you will get bad results from Rahu. Also, when we talk about Rahu, there also you'll understand a lot of things. So, I mean, whatever you see, exercise some caution. I mean, do not go just by one line, two line thing. Results won't come like that. There can be many elder siblings or many friends. Okay. Not necessarily sometimes, because number of friends will also depend on your 4th and 5th houses, because friends will come mostly at the college age, right? The 4th house and the 5th house is where the college is. So at that age, if you have more Saturnine influence, your 5th and 4th houses are influenced by Saturn and Mars. you may be left with no friends. Okay, so even if the 11th house is very big with Jupiter, if your 4th and 5th house are ruled and aspected by Mars and Saturn, planets like that, Rahu can be a little exception sometimes, but Saturn, Mars, they can get off your friends. Okay, but always, as I say, friends you can still make at office, you can still make at other places as well. So D10 and all that stuff you have to see for sure. So many friends rise in position after a struggle in early life, because position is the 5th house and Jupiter is in the 11th house, exactly opposite to the 11th house. And the Vamana, the avatar is Vamana. So the elder brother or the eldest brother is reckoned in the 11th house. So which happens to be Indra. So the person will definitely rise up to position with the 11th house Jupiter. That's why our Parashara Rishi has said all the planets are welcome in the 4th and the 11th house, right? All the planets are going to give you a lot of good results in the 11th house. That's a usual statement. However, that's by generic rules, but still there can be planets in the 11th house and there can be illnesses as well. Okay, usually it affects the health, 11th house, or the death. Okay, and the 11th house, the responsibility of siblings. Okay, so elder siblings can be your responsibility, protecting siblings, fortune of the partner's wife, because of the 7th of the 9th house aspect falls on the 7th house. Fortune of the partners or wife, that is what is the blessing that you will have from the 11th house Jupiter. So the partners or the wife of the person is going to rise in life. Protects the relationship with subordinates and kids. All right. So 12th house Jupiter, spirituality, bedroom, and sometimes even boredom as well. The person, has very good spiritual understanding. But afflictions can bring in, because 12th house is also the bedroom of yours. So if the Jupiter is afflicted, or the Jupiter is, or the 12th Lord is badly placed, the Navamsha positions are also bad. Jupiter can also bring in, bad, untidy bed. I mean, bad relationships or too many relationships. Okay. You have protection. The mother is protected. Mother can have long life, or mother is a little protected by the kid. There are afflictions, then it will be exactly opposite to it. I mean, Jupiter is afflicted, then the person will say, look, I cannot protect my mother for so and so reasons. I have low money and all that. So he may refrain from protecting the mother, citing different reasons. Okay. And then fortunate are the in-laws, or he may get some inheritance very fortunately from somewhere. Okay. And protection of relationships with the competitors or the cousins or mother's siblings, because 6th house is mother's siblings also. More or less, this is what is the 12 houses Jupiter. Any questions, anyone? Happy to answer.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my Jupiter is in 7th house Libra, and Venus is in Sagittarius, but Venus got combusted. If that Parivartana works positively or negatively?
This is the first class of yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to first read the nakshatras there. Okay, you have to see which nakshatra Jupiter is in, which nakshatra Venus is in. Okay, don't worry much about the combustion. I'll teach you about the combustion. So the best thing that you can do is follow what your partner is saying, because Jupiter in the 7th house. If your wife or your business partner says something, just do it blindly. Don't ask them logic. Why should I do this? Just do blindly what she's saying. If she proposes, look, we have to leave this home, go elsewhere, please go. If she asks, okay, I need to buy this, let her buy. Okay, let her not cry at all. These are those important things that you have to follow if you have 7th house Jupiter.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more doubt, sir. Sir, now
Mhm.
next one, Jupiter is transiting to Miduna, Gemini. It will trine to that natal Jupiter. Can we expect that natal Jupiter promises like Karakattvas during the transit?
I don't use transits at all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I don't use them because for me, I don't think they're working. Actually, if you know how to use dashas, you don't need transits. I mean, this can be a big statement. A lot of people will be against me, but if you know how to understand your dashas, and if you can time your events using dashas, you really do not need transits. Only
Okay, sir.
those people who cannot read dashas very well, they will only use transits. Because what we will do in our class is we use all the nakshatras to understand the basic energy of the D1 chart. Those are all those results that you will definitely get. So you have to ensure that you are in tune with those nakshatras and then use the Varga chakras, the divisional charts like the D10, D9, etc., which I have not taught yet much in English classes. However, I have touched upon them in the Telugu classes. However, after the planets, I will definitely teach a few things about the divisional charts like the Navamsha and the Shamsha. If you know how to use them well, then there is no need for using transits, etc.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi, sir.
Yes, hi.
Sir, you were talking about Jupiter in 5th house. It's represent gates and all these things, right? So, what if the Jupiter is retrograde in 5th house and which is debilitated? The same thing applies?
For now, please only read this. However, always use the nakshatras. Did you read nakshatras?
Yes, it is a Shravana Nakshatra.
Okay, so you know how to use nakshatras?
No, sir.
Okay, we have done all the 27 nakshatras. Please read them. Okay, based on which you will be able to understand how to decipher it. Right now, I have not taught the retrogression. Okay, so forget debilitation. Debilitation doesn't work in D1 chart. Don't even mind, even if it is in debilitation. Retrogression can still affect a little bit. What does retrogression mean is retrograde planets are more powerful because they receive a lot of sunlight because they are away from the sun. So for a planet to be retrograde like Jupiter or Saturn, it has to be at least 4 houses away from sun. Okay. So it means that there is a lot of sunlight on sun and sun has actually empowered Jupiter now that Jupiter is more powerful to give whatever, whatever results Jupiter has to give, it will give. Now following dharma is extremely important for you. If you're a dharmic person, the results are very good. In one line, if I have to answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
However, I will teach about retrogression in a few days. So, I mean, this is one of those things. It's a big chapter. Retrogression may take about 2 classes. I mean, 4 hours of lecture.
Sure, sir.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, I was wondering if Jupiter with 5th house connections can indicate adoption or like be one of the factors for adoption. So, given that, sir, sorry.
Possible, yes.
Oh,
Jupiter
oh,
in the 5th house, own house, if it is probably in Revati or the stronger the Jupiter is, I mean, it's dependent on actually, I have done childlessness. Okay, there you go to the menu, go to study, go to Saptamsha, no children. Okay, you can click on this. Just click on this. There are so many rules that we have given. Sun is the karka for progeny. Please read all this. houses, and then nakshatras. Okay, what are all the nakshatras that can give you childlessness? And then the saptamsha. Okay, there is a clear indication of why children are not there. More the number of rules are, followed, more is the chances of not having children. And saptamsha always holds the key there.
Okay, so I was wondering based on how Jupiter adopted Mercury, sir. Based on the
Possible. It depends on because you cannot generalize it from there, because Jupiter has so many children also. It is not that Jupiter did not have children and Jupiter adopted it. Why usually people adopt children? General context is they do not have children. That's why they are adopting it. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if that is the case, then that doesn't work. If you already have children and if you want to adopt, that is what Jupiter did. Jupiter has so many children. Besides that, Jupiter also adopted Mercury, who is also a kid actually of his wife.
Yes.
The context is different. The context in which you are asking is, first is the person has to be childless, no biological children. That's why they're going for adoption. So these are two different things.
Okay. I just meant adoption in general, whether they have kids before.
No, you cannot generalize, because you have to see, are you going for adoption? Because there is, in Indian context, right? All of the people are going for adoption. Why? Because they don't have children, correct?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Sometimes I have seen when the Jupiter is in own positions, okay, in the 5th house. But still, you may have to see, not you may have to, you definitely have to see the Navamsha and the Saptamsha. But rarely this happens, but still it will happen. Like in Revati, on few particular degrees, Jupiter is, and a few particular degrees the Lagna is. This happens. But anyway, you still have to check the Navamsha and Saptamsha. There it will be very clear, even if you miss out in the D1.
Okay. Thank you.
Ustad.
So you mentioned that Jupiter in 8th house, the person talks about dead people and things on those sorts. But what I have noticed is that rather than talking about dead people, I have not found that. But I have found that these people get stuck in their past and they'll keep remembering their past again and again.
Correct.
So would it be, yeah?
Correct.
So
Both
that's
are
what I
same.
wanted to confirm.
That's what I say. They keep talking that, look, I lived in that house. I lived along with these people. Then this happened, and then that happened, and they're living actually 20 years before what they were actually doing.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, exactly. And
yeah,
it is
that is
very
right.
hard to convince them to get out
To
of
roll back
that
to this life.
thinking.
No, they cannot. Yeah, they cannot change.
Yes. I have found it very hard to convince them that it's okay, move over this.
Unless your moon is
Very
very
hard.
strong, right? They may even fall into depression also, depending on where the Jupiter is. Okay, if the Jupiter
go
is
very
very
silent. That's what I have observed.
that is what is depression, right? If they're not talking to anyone, they cannot share their feelings. They'll constantly keep talking, because they also look at Jupiter also looks at the 2nd house. 2nd house is the speech, and Jupiter is Vachaspati. Now they don't have people to talk. 8th house is darkness. They don't have people to talk. All those people that they love, they're all dying, and they're living in those memories.
Yes,
Okay, so
you
they
are very
can slip
correct.
into
Even
they can
if they are
slip into
not
depression.
dying, they are unavailable.
They're unavailable. They
Yes,
cannot talk to them. They don't like what they are talking. So many things are there, depending on where the Jupiter is and what nakshatras is it influencing. But unless the moon is very strong, these people slip into depression, get into intoxication, and all that stuff.
And sir, one more question.
Mm.
You said that Jupiter, wherever it's called Dharma Sankat. And I wanted to ask that everybody calls it Bhagya. So it will give the Dharma Sankat only if it is afflicted, or in any case it will give the Dharma Sankat.
If it is unafflicted, it will give you more Dharma Sankat.
Oh,
If it is
so it's opposite.
unafflicted, yes, it will give you more Dharma Sankat because Jupiter is very pure now. Okay, so this man is constantly thinking I shouldn't be, because Jupiter debilitates in the 10th house, he will find 100 ways to stop working, stop doing your karma.
Yes. True.
Okay, so he will keep telling you, look, this is the reason I have not done this work. That is what Jupiter is very good at.
Does that mean that Jupiter will keep planning and keep making guidelines and not do the actual work?
Correct. Jupiter can only, Jupiter needs a Sathi. Jupiter needs, like, Jupiter is Drona. He needs Arjuna like this, right? Jupiter is Drona and he needs an Arjuna like this. That's why I put this thing here. Arjuna cannot, Drona cannot win the war. He needs Arjuna for him to win the war, right? He can only train the Arjuna. Jupiter or the Drona himself cannot throw the arrow. Hope you understood what I said.
Yes, and yes, in Mercury lecture also you mentioned that
there is
Jupiter
also
needs
one more story which I forgot to mention. Jupiter and Drupada, okay, in the 3rd house thing. Jupiter and Drona and Drupada, these two people were, brought up at the same place in the childhood. Drupada is a king and his father lost the kingdom and they were both raised at the place of Drona. And that time Drupada said, when I become a king, Drona, you please come to my palace. I will give you half my kingdom to you. You please rule it. Drona then said, oh, thank you so much. He didn't feel much for it because he's a Brahmana and Drupada is a Kshatriya. So the rule has to be done only by Kshatriyas, which Drona is very clear about. So he never went back to him. However, when Drona had got Ashwadhama, his kid, was born, Drona is in such a huge poverty that he could not feed his son Ashwadhama without, doesn't have cows to feed. In those days, Brahmanas were given cows so that they will milk the cows, feed their children, rear cattle, do some japa and tapa, and that's it. That is what the expectation of Brahmanas was. So what Kripi, the wife of Drona, advised is, please go to Drupada. He is the king right now, of this area. He's your friend. Please request him, take 2 cows and come back. We'll feed our child. Okay? Because it's difficult for me to raise this child now. Ashwadhama is drinking a lot of milk and he needs milk. So this man happily goes to Drupada. Okay, and Drupada straight away rejects Drona and says, he insults him. Look, you are a poor Brahmin, I'm a big king. Okay, you do not even know how to address a king. How can you address a king, oh friend? Okay, you have to say, hey Raja, why did you address me as a friend? You leave right now. I do not even want to hear what you're going to say next. Please leave. So Drona felt very insulted. Okay. Why did I start the story? What was the question? In fact, I forgot the question, Ustad.
I even forgot the question.
Good. I
forgot the question.
Okay.
It was spontaneous. That's why I have not written it.
I don't know. Maybe we have to.
Yeah, about the affliction, sir. If Jupiter feel more.
Yeah. So he needs. So yes. So when Drona came back, Drona actually got all the vidya of the Dhanur Vidya or the archery from Parashuram. When he was coming back, he suddenly Parashurama appeared and said, there is a big story. I'm just giving you 2 lines thing. Parashurama said, please take the archery from me. I am going to give you like the tapas, right? They pour water from the Kamandala and all the Vidya gets into Jupiter. Now, without having to go to a guru, Jupiter got all the Vidya on his own. I mean, Drona got all the Vidya of Dhanas, just like that from Parashurama. Now, there is no one better than Drona on the whole earth to teach Dhanurvidya or the archery, right? Despite that, he called upon these kids, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and asked the first question is, who amongst you 100 people are going to fulfill my wish if I teach you archery? Is the first question that Jupiter asked or Drona asked. Okay. Now, out of all those 100 people, including Ashwathama, 99 Kauravas and 5 Pandavas, that makes 105 people. Arjuna is the only person who stood up and said, Guru, you teach me archery, I'm going to fulfill your wish. You know what his wish was? Just arrest, get Drupada so that I can teach him a lesson. You have to kidnap him, go and, play archery over him, and he has to be arrested and brought to me. With that Vidya of Dhanas, can't this man straight away go and kill this Drupada? He wouldn't do it. He needs Arjuna. Okay? You understood what I said? Or is it not clear? Ustad, you went
Yes,
in mute.
it's clear. Yes, it's clear. It's
So
clear.
the person who knows the whole Vidya of archery, he can straight away go and shoot the person. Why did he want Arjuna? Because he cannot do work. He can only teach. He's like only a
Yes,
mentor.
so
This happens with a lot of people.
so the question was not this, that Jupiter, the question was Jupiter will do all the planning and will not do the work. That was what you were explaining.
Correct.
And Jupiter in third house connection, a very beautiful connection I saw was internet. You said internet things are related in Jupiter and third house. So internet was developed by American military operation ARPANET as a form of ARPANET, and it was popularized at the arrival of pornography. It was popularized because of that, which is the Mathuna part in this third house. So the beautiful connection. So for Jupiter to expand, it needed to use the
Mercury thing.
Yes. So it is, and here also you are mentioning he trains all the Kshatriyas and needs them to do the work. So Mars is also the Karaka for third house. So that is also so beautiful. The manifestation is occurring by using the Karakatwas of the third house.
Correct.
In both the cases. So that was quite mesmerizing to witness. Thanks.
Okay, good.
Srikanth garu, hi Andy.
Yes, madam.
I have a question. Going back to the affliction of Jupiter, what if Jupiter is in the 9th house, which is considered good, and it's conjunct with Ketu? I hear some people say conjunction of Jupiter and Ketu is good. Yeah, that's my question.
Well, I keep telling you only one thing, okay? None of the conjunctions are good, none of them are bad, okay? None of the placement is good, none of them is bad. Everything has a, there's a set of let us suppose, I'll tell you, for whatever combinations, okay? I'll not tell you what combinations it is. Let us suppose, okay, let me give you a combination. Let's suppose I'm muting you up, okay? I think there's some disturbance from your side. Let us suppose you look at the D10 and you have 8th house connections for some reason. Okay, 8th house in the D10 would mean 10 things. Okay, one of them is you are a researcher. Okay, you are in a research project. That can be one. So you are constantly on research, and your job demands research. Okay. Second is you have a temporary job. Okay. You don't, I mean, contract workers in India. I mean, they don't have a permanent job. They're not paid the benefits. Some are contract workers. That stuff is also from the 8th house. Third is the cinema actors, right? They demand a lot of money. Like the Pushpa, the movie came in. Allu Arjun would say, look, I will take a cut from the earnings that the cinema is going to make, right? That also comes from the 8th house. Okay. There are 3-4 more things. And the other thing is the person can be working in an insurance company, or there are constant breaks in the work. Okay. So 10 months the person works, 5 months, there's no work. Or, again, 5 months he works, another 6 months he doesn't work. So if there is an 8th house thing, like what I said in the D10, the 8th house dasha is running, or the 8th house is connected to the 1st house, etc., then it can be 10 possibilities. You cannot say, okay, are you saying Jupiter Ketu is good? I mean, the question itself is wrong. Jupiter Ketu is good in 100 things. Jupiter Ketu is bad again in 100 things. If you ask me a question like this, there's no answer for this. You ask me, is it good? I mean, this is so rudimentary, it's difficult for me to answer. I mean, unless, sometimes what happens to me is, if I say something, it doesn't work for 100 reasons, and I'm afraid of saying that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Why I'm feeling, little difficult to answer?
Yeah, I get it. Probably I have to clarify the question.
No. The first thing is you have to use nakshatras to the fullest. Okay. You please learn first all the nakshatras. Make a base energy of what the house is saying. Never go by these rules of Jupiter Ketu conjunct. It is a good thing. There's so much of stuff available on the internet. These are constantly misleading people. Jupiter Ketu is good. Jupiter Rahu is bad. One is Guru Chandala. The other one is Guru whatever. Okay. These are good to read. Okay. These are overwhelming for that point in time. That's it. And you will forget it. Even if you read it 10 times, you will still forget it because you don't know how to apply it. They don't work fully. Instead, if you know what house it is, what nakshatra it is, what dispositor the house is making, I mean, I don't understand what good and bad is. Okay. Everybody has parents. At one point in time, they die. So is death bad? I would say death is bad and good because you are at least moving into the next soul. That's one way of thinking. Don't take me wrong. Okay. What I'm trying to say is nothing is bad, nothing is right. It's just a result. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy.
Please use nakshatras first, then you will understand what the result is. Please don't go by first. For sure, don't use conjunctions. For sure, don't use even these results, right? Jupiter in the 1st house, 2nd house. If you're forgetting everything else and trying to apply only this Jupiter 2nd house, and you read all this, only 80% of the times they work, 20% they don't work. Because there are certain nakshatras, they will give only the nakshatra result, ensure that nothing else comes out. Like the Swati, the Bharani. These are nakshatras which are powerful, and they ensure that everything comes from that nakshatra itself, most times. Okay. It's not as straightforward, as simple as that. First, I would recommend is please go and read all the 27 nakshatras and try to understand all your 12 houses, their cusps, the dispositors of those house lords. Read all those lords and read all the stuff that we have explained it there. There are 2 hours each, and there is enough stuff already available on the channel. If you read all that, 90% of the result is already there. Then you may have to look at the positions. The positions are very important for you to actually, give remedies. If the objective is not to give any remedy, if the chart doesn't need remedy, then I would say don't even need these things. More questions, anyone? Any more questions? I mean, try to understand the concept instead of just looking at 4 charts that you have and trying to figure out, is this good, is this bad, is this good, is this bad? No, it doesn't work like that. Every combination is good, every combination is equally bad. Okay, if people are saying, no, this combination is good, this combination is bad, that is completely misleading. It is not correct. Because I'll tell you a simple scenario. Assume this scenario wherein a dasha is running. You assume Saturn dasha, Mercury dasha, Venus dasha, or any dasha for that matter. They'll run for at least 15, 20 years, right? During that 15, 20 years of time, if what you guys think this is good, that is bad, let's assume that a particular combination is good and that dasha is running. So all that 15 years, you should not have even a single bad day. Will that ever happen? I don't think it can happen even for Ambani like people. Okay, we are nothing in front of them. For a simple people, let us suppose a person, aged about 25. He gets a big raise at the office. He comes home, 2 days later, his father dies. So is it a good dasha or a bad dasha? With respect to D10, it was a good dasha. With respect to the father thing, using the D1, D9 and D12, it's a bad dasha. So a dasha can, if there are 15 walks in which we are looking at dasha or the timing or the prediction, 15 levels in which we are looking, one is children, one is office, one is land, buying a home, parents, their health, your health, wife's health, kids' health, all that. Like there are like 15, 30, 40, I don't know how many spheres we are looking at. In one sphere, this is good, and in the same dasha, in one sphere, it can be bad. Or 10 spheres, it is good, 15 spheres, it is bad. It depends on that. A lot of people, what they're thinking is this is a bad placement. So there is it's kind of generalizing the whole stuff, and the real stuff doesn't work like that. I believe I made some sense. I mean, those are generic things. I mean, you will only feel happy for it. Oh, Jupiter Ketu, it's a good combination. You'll keep feeling happy and goodies for it. Don't believe on those goodies. I strongly believe, goodies and baddies. These are, I don't know how to say. Okay. So unless anybody else has questions, let's say goodbye.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, so you said like Jupiter positions in different houses, and also does it have any impact, any influence if we consider Rasitulya Navamsha or Karakamsha for the that
The
Lagna?
the Navamsha will not work from here. These are the placements, these are the results only for the placements in D1. They don't work in Navamsha.
Oh, okay, sir.
They don't work in Navamsha. Maybe a few will work. You can count them on fingers. Okay. Like the Navamsha Lagna, they may still work. Jupiter in Lagna, Jupiter in Navamsha Lagna, they may still work. Not all other 12, 11 positions, it will not work. So you need a very different understanding for D9, because D9 is a chart that gives you everything. Okay, it's not just for marriage. It can give you every phalita. So D9, please use for all the phalitas. That is what Parashara said.
Okay, sir. Yeah, this is making more sense. Like what you said, it may be good with respect to your D10, or it may not be good with respect to your D9 or something like. So, yeah, even the
See, you
divisional
must have
chart.
seen people, right, who has a very good career. At the same point in time, he's undergoing a divorce. Okay. So, I mean, this is not uncommon. What I'm saying is not uncommon. Somebody gets a rise. I just said it cinematically, but in the same 6 months or 7 months of time, he must have lost a parent as well. This happens for most of the people. This is not very uncommon thing.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Sir, one confirmation. So do we look at nakshatras only in the Rasi chart, or do we need to look at nakshatras even in the Navamsa chart, sir?
No, only Rashi chart is what is working. Some people are saying they're working for them even in the divisional charts, but I am not using them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I would say do not confuse yourself with the nakshatras of the divisional charts. You just use the rules for the divisional charts. They are working much better. The Rashi charts, the Rashi chart, please use nakshatras.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Thank you. I'll take leave.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.